The divorce papers have been filed. You'll be going to court soon. You have children, you and your soon to be ex spouse. The question becomes, how much will child support be? Hi, I'm attorney Paul Whalen from Afford Law. At Afford Law, we practice criminal and family law throughout Massachusetts. Our fees are all based on a sliding scale, which is based on your income. What that means is that the less you earn, the less you have to pay for our services. Today, I want to talk to you about how child support is determined in Massachusetts. There are a number of factors that go into the child support number that will be paid on a weekly or a monthly basis. All of those factors go into the child support guidelines, and there's a formula that's used. So all the numbers go in, the numbers get crunched, and it basically spits out a number at the bottom. That's how much child support is due. Now, there are a number of factors that are considered when coming to that conclusion. One of them is the parent's income, the income of each of the parents. And the income is all inclusive. So it includes all the money that you earn over the course of the month or the year or whatever. So it includes salaries, wages. It includes if you have rental property, any rent that you're taking in, if you're collecting some sort of government assistance, if you're if you have retirement accounts that are paying or investments, things along those lines. So it takes all of the income into consideration when coming up with that figure. The number of children is another factor. How many children you and your soon-to-be ex-spouse have will come into effect as well. Health insurance is another big factor that's considered. So health insurance is very expensive, as you know. A court will order health insurance as long as it is obtainable by one of the parties at a reasonable cost. What is a reasonable cost for health insurance, you might ask? The court has determined that a reasonable cost for health insurance is up to 5% of the paying partner's gross income. So as long as the health insurance costs, the monthly premiums are 5% or below of the gross income of the paying spouse, that is considered reasonable. Now, when that person is ordered to pay the health insurance, the amount of health insurance premiums, the amount that person pays, is deducted from that person's gross income when being put into the formula. So the person's income is decreased so that they're not getting hit twice. Because say you're making $100,000 and you're paying $10,000 for health insurance. That now your gross income is based on $90,000 rather than 100. So the court doesn't want you to have to pay the $10,000 but still get hit at the $100,000 mark when it comes to figuring out the child support. Similarly, dental and vision care, it comes into the formula as well, similar to the health insurance. Parenting time, how much time the child spends at each house. So typically, the sort of the default parenting time situation is the child or children will spend 2/3 of the time at the custodial parent's home and 1/3 of the time at the non-custodial parent's home. But that doesn't have to be. You can work out a different parenting plan that is not written in stone. So if you can work out something, let's say 50-50. So half the time they're with you, half the time they're with the other parent. That would affect the formula for the child support. And that only makes sense because if the children are with you more, you shouldn't have to pay somebody else to provide financially for them, because if they're with you, obviously you're going to be buying some food and sheltering them, buying their clothes and activities and so forth. So that's reflected in the child support guidelines as well. Another thing is that comes into play. Are there any other obligations by either of the two parents? Any other obligations as far as, say, alimony or child support from a previous marriage or relationship? So if somebody has to pay child support or alimony and they're already court ordered to do so, that has to be taken into account, because obviously the person's gross income, that's already being deducted because there's a child support or an alimony payment that they're obligated to make. So that has to be taken into consideration. And one other thing to keep in mind is that if there's a child living with one of the parents, and that parent is the sole provider financially for that child, that will come into play as well. So, say for instance, a custodial parent also has a child from a previous relationship, and that previous relationship is not supporting the child at all financially. So basically, the custodial parent has the full financial obligation for that child. That's going to come into play as well. Similarly, if the non-custodial parent, that would be then the paying parent of child support, if they have a child living with them from a previous relationship and they are solely responsible for the financial support of that child, that will be taken into account as well. So you can see there's a lot of things going on. There are a lot of factors that go into the child support guidelines. Those are the main ones. And as I say, it's basically following a formula. So you put all these numbers into the child support guideline worksheet, and again, you get the number at the bottom. However, a judge can deviate from that number. So the number comes out, and it's X amount of dollars per month. But the judge can take into account a number of other factors if they think it's in the best interest of the child and that it doesn't cause an undue hardship on the paying parent. So that's basically how child support payments are calculated. It's not a whole lot of discretion, but the judge does have some. It's not like alimony. Alimony is much more at the discretion of the court. So, as I say, at Afford Law, we do practice criminal and family law in Massachusetts. We practice this law, and we base our fees on a sliding scale, which is based on your income. Again, that means the less you make, the less we charge for our services. We're trying to make ourselves as affordable as possible for the hardworking men and women of Massachusetts. Please feel free to visit us at affordlaw.org, and feel free to book a free virtual appointment with me. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about criminal or family law matters in Massachusetts. Because at Afford Law, we're making justice affordable. Thank you.